Greetings, fellow Trekkies and Trekkers, and welcome to my last video of my series of videos called Remembering Star Trek. Now, this will be my last video. This will be my last Remembering Star Trek video for the time being. Okay, I just want to make that absolutely clear. I will talk about Star Trek Beyond, but I will do it the Tuesday after I have seen it. I'm not going to talk about it, the day I've seen it or the day after I've seen it, but the Tuesday after I have seen it. So, there you go. Yeah, and before I get to talk about Star Trek in Darkness, just a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. First things first, a week from today, I will be starting my series of videos that I'm going to call A Song of Ice and Fire Readings, in which I'll be reading the books from the book series A Song of Ice and Fire, which, as many of you out there know, has been adapted into the hit HBO series Game of Thrones. So a week from today, I will be starting those videos by reading the first book, by reading the first book, A Game of Thrones. I'll start with a prologue, and then after I'm done reading that book, I will then move on to the second book, and so on and so forth. Now, I know it's going to take an extremely long amount of time for me to get through all those books. Plus, there's also the fact that the sixth book, The Winds of Winter, has not yet been published. And I know some of you are probably wondering why I don't just hold off on reading the books until all of the books until the final two books have been published. Well, the reason I'm doing it now is because I feel like if I do it now instead of just waiting, then it'll be like, then I don't want to put something like that on the back burner, okay? This is something I really want to do for you guys, okay? You guys, everyone who's subscribed to me, who's coming on my videos, you guys are the reason why I'm doing this, okay? So, there you go. And, like I said, I know it's going to take an extremely long amount of time for me to read all of those books, but just be patient with me, guys. I do have some other things that I have planned for future videos. I mean, I'm going to start planning for the future. So basically, whenever I get done reading all of those books, I do have some other things I'm going to review. I'm going to talk about like other movies and TV shows that I love. Like I'm going to talk about the Joss Whedon shows, Buffy, Angel, and Firefly. I might talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although I'm not quite sure if I want to, but who the hey knows. I'll be talking about the Disney animated movies, the movies that were done by Pixar and DreamWorks and everything else. I'll be talking about some of my favorite mystery shows like Sherlock and Veronica Mars. I'll even go so far as to talk about some storylines from some of my favorite comic book characters, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, all those other things. And yes, I know Linkar is pretty much the king of comic book reviewers, but I'm gonna do those because like I said, I do these videos for you guys, for your enjoyment, for your entertainment. That's why I do these videos. I do it for you guys, okay? And also, on a side note, on my second channel, Hoovy and Queen, which I really hope you guys check out sometime, along with my Doctor Who reviews, I will be talking about the two spin-off shows, Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures, which, by the way, Sarah Jane Adventures is my favorite out of the Doctor Who spin-off shows. I'm also kind of debating as to whether or not I should talk about another British sci-fi show that I love, either on my main channel or on my second channel, and that show is Red Dwarf. I love that show, so if you guys want me to talk about Red Dwarf on my main channel, then that's great. If you guys want me to talk about it on my second channel, then go ahead and say that, and basically I'll tally it up like voting is, so like vote for which channel you want me to talk about Red Dwarf on, and whichever one gets the most votes, that'll be the channel which I will in which I will be talking about Red Dwarf, which is another great British sci-fi show that I absolutely love. It's very entertaining, very funny, and it's definitely one of my favorite British sci-fi shows, besides Doctor Who and Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures. So there you go. Alright, so with that being said, let's get to the main point of this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the second film in the Star Trek reboot series, Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, as I said last time, the wait between Star Trek Nemesis and the 2009 Star Trek movie was 7 years. So, what was the gap between Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness? 4 years. Yeah. That's not really that long to wait for a movie, but still. So I went to go see this movie with my dad, and we saw it pretty late at night, actually. I don't remember how late it was, but we saw it at night. And when I asked my dad how he felt about the movie, he said it was okay. You know, he thought it was just fine. But for me, I really did enjoy this movie. And I know a lot of people are comparing this movie to Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. It's interesting though. It seems like whenever a franchise gets to a certain point, they try to rip off a previous movie in the franchise. So it's weird though. It's like the second film in the TNG franchise was trying to be like Wrath of Khan, and the second film in the reboot franchise was trying to be like Wrath of Khan. So it's crazy. But to me, I think that this movie did a better job at following the Wrath of Khan formula than First Contact did, because hey, we actually have the character of Khan in there, and yes, I know a lot of people were up in arms with the casting of Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan because, you know, he doesn't look like Khan's ethnicity, which I believe is supposed to be Indian, but instead they casted a white guy. So, do I have any problems with that? Not really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a great actor. I am extremely excited to see him in the upcoming Marvel movie Doctor Strange, in which he will be playing the title character. But to me, you know, I don't think that casting Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan was a bad idea. I mean, like I said, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's great, but I don't know. I'm sort of conflicted on that, really. But you know, like I said, the character of Khan is, you know, he's a great character. I loved it when Ricardo Montalban played him in in the original series episode Space Seed, and then again in Star Trek II. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, I really don't think that they were trying to offend anyone by casting Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. You know, I mean, to me, I thought he did a great job. And yes, I understand that some people were upset that they didn't cast someone they didn't cast someone who was supposed to be Khan's ethnicity, but hey, they just had to take what they can get, and that's what they did. So I am personally okay with that, you know, but I'm not like supporting the Hollywood whitewashing thing, you know. I mean, that's just stupid, really. But it just comes down as to who is available and who can play the role as best as they possibly can. And Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job playing Khan. So yeah, and plus, say, this movie came out in like 2013. That was like 3 years ago. So I'm pretty sure we can all just like calm down and just let it go and just move past on what they did in the past and focus on what they're going to be doing in the future. So there you go. But yeah, and another interesting aspect of this movie that I thought was kind of interesting was the fact that they brought in the character of Carol Marcus. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Star Trek II, Carol Marcus is the mother of Kirk's son, David. And I don't know if they were possibly hinting, I don't know if they were hinting at a possible romance between Kirk and Carol in this movie, but I don't think it really worked out. So, yeah. And also seeing the Klingons in this movie, they just look silly to me, you know. I mean, I like the way they looked in Next Generation and in the movies, except for how they looked in Star Trek the Motion Picture. Didn't really like that all that much. So yeah, but other than that, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Now, something else that a lot of people comment on about this movie is the fact that in this movie there's a blatant homage to Star Trek 2, in which Kirk sacrifices himself to save the ship, very much how Spock did, the Leonard Nimoy Spock in Star Trek 2, and you know, Kirk dies and stuff like that, and it was very meaningful. And then they bring him back using using Khan's blood. What the hell? To me, I thought it would have been very, very more. I thought it would be more impactful and powerful if they just left Kirk dead and then find some way to bring him back, or just have him be dead for the rest of the franchise. You know, because not that I'm hating on Chris Pine, but to me, if Kirk stayed dead, that would have been much more powerful than just using Khan's blood to bring Kirk back to life. That was just stupid and idiotic. I definitely think that they should have had Kirk stay dead at least for the rest of the movie, and then find some other way to bring him back in Star Trek Beyond. But that didn't happen, so there you go. So those are my thoughts on Star Trek in Darkness. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I definitely look forward to doing my video on Star Trek Beyond, which is going to happen the Tuesday after I have seen it. So there you go. So next week, my series of videos called A Song of Ice and Fire Readings will start when I read the prologue to the very first book in the series, A Game of Thrones. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your continued support. I cannot do what I do without you, and I will see you guys next week. Until then, live long and prosper.